Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm a junk journal junkie, if you will. I have been making junk journals now here for, probably 8 years. And I have an Etsy shop called Yesterday's Stash. And during this lockdown, I have gone into my space, my art space, my junk journal space, and I have just found all these really neat, I've had a lot of time to go through stacks and stacks of saving things, and I've come up with a much more organized, you know how it is when you are forced to be at home, you find things to do. So here I am, and I am continuing to work on a variety of projects and junk journals, and it's just so much fun. I'm just so delighted to be able to have this as a hobby and as a pastime. This particular book is going to be called Making Memories. What I usually do is I take a book that is, I look through the pages, and whatever jumps out at me, then that becomes the name of the book. This particular book has a like an upholstered, with like maybe a sofa or a chair, upholstery on the front, on the side, and on the back. And I have a huge, way too big collection of lace that I have found and have been sorting and organizing, and I can't really say I've made too much progress, but there's going to be over 40 different kinds of laces in this book. This particular one, the part that opens, is I have been given a bunch of lace over the years, and this particular is one of my newer acquisitions from a friend who is going into an assisted living position, and she is a assisted living facility, and she is getting rid of all kinds of things, and the stuff that she found for my books is unbelievable. So this is looks like somebody just crocheted this. It's very sturdy and just great for this book. I'm going to go ahead and get started. The book itself has about 60 of these tags, in addition to the over 40 pieces of lace. And it also has washi tape and ribbon trim. And it is 64, well, if you take, it's 32 pages is makes 64, but then these I have what they call inserts, or short pages, smaller additions. I have 28 of those, so we've got a pretty big book here. And of course I use a lot of the Ranger's Distress ink, and I am a very avid purchaser of Etsy store owners. So that when you combine all of these things together, you have quite a bit of collection. Additionally, I have a wonderful thrift store in the area that has just all kinds of educational and art, ephemera, old magazines, old books, old sewing supplies, old fabric, old scrapbooking pages and papers galore, and I have found that to be just a great place to go, although I have not allowed myself to go during this coronavirus period, because I have just bound and determined that I'm going to use the stash that I have. This actually is 2 pieces of little tags, or nameplates, if you will, that I have sewn together and have put a finish on it. I love to use pearl finishes and glitter finishes, just anything to seal the papers, so sealants of some sort. So moving along here, I have used a probably 80-pound weight newspaper, kind of a fabric that you can buy, buy by the ream. And I have also found stacks of these papers in the store. I have lots of tags, little tiny corner cuts type things that I like to use. And I'm pretty, I guess you could say, fickle. And then I have all sorts of, nothing can be too much alike the other, so that I want a lot of change in my books. One of the things that I have done is this particular wallpaper, or this particular paper here, this one here and here, a theme throughout this book is going to be wallpaper coverings by a book I found called William Morris's Full Color Patterns for Wallpaper. And I've pretty much used it up, so there's not very much left in it. But this particular William Morris has been a name in the art world for many years, especially during the Victorian period. He grew up in England. And so you will find, I will just point out his wallpaper patterns that came from this book. You can tell the book is not in very good shape because it was an old and used book. So very little of what is in this book is new. I might find, washi tape is new. Thread, I use a lot of sewing in the book. Usually find tape, hem tape, and various things like that to use. This is used stationery here. So other than what I buy from the Etsy sellers and glue and washi tape, that is about the extent of what I have purchased brand new. Everything else is from a seller, an Etsy seller, or from a person who has given me their laces. When we disbanded my father's old home place, there had been a bunch of spinsters that had lived in that house. They were actually school teachers, and they could walk to the high school, and they taught there. And I had two great aunts that were teachers there that lived in the old home place. And when the last one, her name was Emily, passed away, we had to go through and prepare her things to sell. And we just found drawers after drawers of lace. So I have two other sisters and my mother and my sister-in-law. So we divided all the lace and the trims and papers and old magazines and patterns and etc. in 5 different settlements, and we all collected. And one of the sisters has already given me hers, and so I have just an enormous amount of lace as a result of that, and have been gifted a lot of lace over the years. And I'm talking about that this starting to collect this lace was 30 years ago when we disbanded the house. So this is a little booklet that comes from a piece of wallpaper or notebook, and I just take any paper that I can find. This is index card, and make little books out of them. I get on these rolls where I have probably made about 50 of these, and then I get sick and tired of making them, and I go to some other thing to concentrate on. Here is the Making Memories, and that's why I named the book. Each of these is a sort of the writing pages. Actually, for writing on, we have a lot of these pages are for writing. And this is a thinner paper. It's for using for resumes. There was just box after box of those thin boxes of resume vellum paper. Some of it all different qualities and quantities. So this was kind of a tan. I have magazines that I cut advertisements, old advertisements out of. And any place that I could, I added a piece of trim or lace. There have been many instances where postcards were a part of a box, and my dad had a bunch of postcards that he had saved, and then as I have gone to the thrift store, I've gone through and picked theirs up. Here's more trim. This is a library pocket that I embossed. And then this is actually Jane Austen's home place, Charlton Place. I'm a huge Jane Austen fan and have made many journals just featuring her. And then one day when I was in the thrift shop, there were all of these stacks and stacks of pages of just loose paper that really looked interesting. This particular one is Mansfield Park, is from Jane Austen, and it's a quote from that book, Mansfield Park, which a lot of people think that, you know, Mansfield Park is Jane Austen's best work. Doing a lot of little miniature collaging on these pages as we go through. This is the middle of that signature, and I have done a bow there. I've tied it into a tight bow. My dad had a shoebox absolutely full of stamps. It'll take me a lifetime to go through all those stamps. He was a collector of stamps, and so we that has been passed on to the children. This is actually paper from an Etsy seller, R.D. Mays, and this is an earlier paper. I actually joined these two sheets together so to kind of make it a little bit thicker, but it is a writing paper from her. It's called Old London. I don't know if she still has that, but I did get that several years ago. This is the other side of the postcard, and some more journaling pages, and some more magazine advertisements. This is actually another one of William Morris's patterns that was in that book, and I just took them and kind of combined them together and gave them a little yellow as an accent. Some more of these inserts, some more of that paper. And you can see here where I put a glitter on it. I love to have the glitter on it. Of course, you can't really easily write on that, so if it's supposed to be a paper for writing on, then I'm not going to put anything on it. Another more of a peach theme of his wallpaper pattern. And some of the tags. This tag here comes from a quote. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but a couple of interesting tags. And I get on kicks with tags, and I have to put the rounded corners on them, and I have to do the distress on them, and make sure that it's on thick enough paper to write on the back. This particular one says, "You can't buy happiness, but you can buy ice cream." And that's kind of the same thing. If you have to be an ice cream lover, of which I am. And this is an interesting piece of lace that's kind of a gold tone that wasn't a whole lot of it in there, but I was able to use it on that. And I'm not quite sure where that goes, but this here is a picture of a fruit wharf unloading bananas from a United Fruit Company, and on the back is Loyola College. I'm not quite sure where Loyola College is, but and then this right here is another set of those stamps. I also found a set of stamps it was a junk store on the side of the road. I stopped by, and I was further north towards Washington, D.C., and somebody had collected from the State Department, had collected every stamp that came from different countries, this one being Malaysia. And the stamps are just so interesting, 5-cent stamps. So I have been using some of those stamps, kind of happy to share my stamps with anyone who, as I put them in my books. This is one of my kicks. This is a tea bag that I've just put on a piece of cardboard, excuse me. And I have put this is a stencil of a Chinese for the word love. And I made a little pocket and did some collaging on the outside of the tea bag. So I have a bunch of those. I went crazy on those. And then a couple of other little tags in here. Some more, paper. This is this particular piece of lace here. It looks like maybe an old-time coaster that somebody knitted, or that came from the box of my friend that moved into an assisted living facility. This is a wallpaper pattern that I found at the thrift store. This is a book, picture centerpiece of a person who is writing and who is a book lover, which I'm also a book lover. Here's another one of those tea bags that was put together on a piece of cardboard and putting some collage on it. And one thing is about when you are putting a collage on this, you have to make sure that you have a piece of wax paper or something here, or that you glue a piece of paper to the back so that you can actually freely glue and not glue the two sides together. So this is more of that really intricately sewn or hand stitched, but looks to be an old coaster. And these are some more tags that I have put together. I have a collection of beautiful seashells that I like to use as sort of a 3D dimension. I love texture and I love 3D dimension. This is another one of those wallpapers. More lace. Postcard. Writing pages. This particular postcard says St. Charles Hotel. Can't tell you where it is, but that's what it is. And this is also a cat lover. So this is kind of a combination of different. This particular is another one of those William Morris wallpapers, and I did a decorative stitch around it using a kind of a dark green. This is a piece of brown fabric that I've ripped apart and sewn lace on, another one of his patterns. And then this is some pictures of old women, beautiful ladies, however. Moving along here. This is actually hem tape that I did a little design on. This is a big old book that I found that had huge pictures of artwork of people, and then on the other side it told a story about the picture and who wrote it, who the author of the art was. And so this is called Telling Ghost Stories. So this must be a home for women, and they are telling each other ghost stories. Some more of his wallpaper. Another postcard. These are called smash papers. I don't know if you know about smash books. I got mine at Tuesday Morning several years ago. I don't know if they still carry it, but they're little smash books and they have a theme to them. And it's all about writing something down. It's all about making a list or writing notes. This is my favorite song, lyric, joke, poem, inspirational saying, and then this is something about a word, definition of a word. So all of these have different themes. This particular one is, can't tell what the theme is. I need, I want. I need, I want. To-do list. So top 10 list. Top 10 list of something. Top 10, fill this in, I love. So it's these smash books are just to die for. They were 49 cents a piece. They're so cute. And they have so many neat ideas for people to use for journaling. So I put several of them in here. In this is actually origami paper that I found that I have kind of got hooked on putting that origami paper together and adding lace and different types of stitching and so forth. More journaling pages. This particular one is called Mind the Gap. We were in England, and I'm an England lover, and so this part of me comes out in my books. These are two tags that go along with it, and then this is called the Bridge House Hotel. It's an old hotel in London. This is actually a letter that, what is this? Chicago, March. Oh, it's just an old letter that someone wrote to a friend that I found in a book. And this is Young Woman's Companion. This is an old hotel, or the Cross Keys Inn, built in 1806 in some town in London. So just love working on these books. Taking beautiful patterned paper, turning it into tags, adding lace wherever I can to de-stash my lace. This actually is a piece of, I don't know, you buy it, you look at these books to see what type of covering or wallpaper or upholstery you want, and this is more of a pleather, leather, naugahyde. However, these are England wildflowers of England that have a little bit of information about them. I like to include history or education wherever I can in my books. Not too much, but just enough where you feel like when you've left finished that you have a little more knowledge than you did before. This is Tulane University, and this is the new courthouse, which we don't know where that is. More of his wallpaper. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're called Thoughtfuls. I got mine at a cupcake shop or cake store, but it is a theme, and you open it. It has edge here where you pinch it and it opens it up, and it has a wish for you, or a dream for you, or a hope for you. So it gives you, I've got so many of those, and I found the first ones I found were actually in a thrift store, and I just thought they were so neat that I had to pick some up, and then I found out more about it and have been able to pick some up. That is something that I buy new. This is more of his wallpaper. This is a little tag and with an insert, and this is a picture from an old book and some information about what it's about on the back. And that's the end. That's the end of the book. The front and the back are the same. The name of the book is called Making Memories. It will be for sale in my Etsy store, Yesterday's Stash. This is 8 by 6, and it's got a 1 3/4 inch spine. And thank you for watching. We'll keep up in another video.